Star Trek has given us a massive variety of starships for the Federation and its defending force Starfleet. Over 10 different series, 13 different movies, and multiple games, novels, and comics. We have seen such a massive variety of ships that border on the strange and weird, such as the infamous Yeager class, and those that shine in the memories and hearts such as the original Constitution Enterprise. But one ship became a decisive point of contention for the Star Trek fans after it was introduced in Star Trek Picard Season 1. That is of course the Inquiry class vessel, or as the fans have so lovingly dubbed it, the copy and paste fleet. Welcome to Trek Central, I'm your host Captain Jack, and let's get into it. Before we warp into this video, if you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore, and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media for daily updates on the Star Trek universe. As always, please answer your thoughts in the comment section below, because if you're talking about Star Trek, then we want to hear about it. Okay, engage. A big thank you to Exeter for sponsoring this video. We teamed up with Exeter to showcase their brand new card holder. It's the latest innovation in smart wallet technology. This premium wallet has some next gen features. These include a metal card ejector trigger, allowing for easy access to your cards. There's also this brand new improvement over their previous design. Its new ergonomic shape means that the wallet is more comfortable in your pocket. Speaking of upgrades, the previous Exeter card holder had a plastic ejector trigger. Now it's metal, which is a fantastic upgrade. Exeter also support plenty of add-ons for the card holder. One of them which I really like is the AirTag backplates. Exeter have also let us check out their new Finder card. It's designed to work seamlessly with Apple's Find My app, allowing you to track your wallet and other belongings with ease. This peace of mind is for not losing your card holder. Exeter also offer a lifetime warranty for your card holder, and Exeter are currently having a summer sale, but you can use our code, TrekCentral, then you'll get an additional 30% off discount on top of any web sales, such as the summer sale. Click the link in the video description and begin your adventure today. Thanks once again to Exeter for sponsoring this video. At the end of Star Trek Picard Season 1, a massive fleet of Federation ships, commanded by Captain William T. Riker, arrive at Goulion 4 to assist retired Admiral Jean-Luc Picard in his efforts to persuade the android inhabitants that they do not have to fear humanoids. The fleet consists of a single classification of ship. This was the Inquiry class, which has two designs of nacelles and either yellow warp and impulse engines or red. Many were disappointed, with a few fan-made videos showing more mixed fleets held by the Enterprise E arriving to assist. Thanks to Neon Visual for the amazing fleet concept idea here. Imagine if we'd seen this scene. It seems the real world reasoning was budget. According to Picard Season 1 showrunner, Michael Chabon, 3 classes of ship were planned that would have supported Picard, but alas, we never got to see all 3 together due to the cost. The fleet scene was the most tolerable to cut from, so 3 went to 1. Besides the Inquiry class, there was also to be the Equity class, which was supposedly a carrier cruiser that had forward prongs off the elongated saucer, and the Seeger class, an opened ring saucer. However, in the universe, there is no explanation as to why a fleet of near-identical ships was used. So today, we have researched and pitted our Star Trek knowledge to bring you 2 plausible solutions for this mass fleet of similar ships. Before we go any further, I would like to clarify that these are Trek Central's own conclusions, and there is no real-world or in-universe canon evidence to support them. Sit back and enjoy our Star Trek theory. The first conclusion is that the Inquiry class is a warship built specifically for a mass production. Star Trek Picard Season 1 is set in 2399, 12 years after a Romulan star incident, which destroyed the Romulan home system, and 14 years after the devastation of Mars, when rogue androids controlled by the Zat Vash attacked the shipyard and ignited the atmosphere, destroying all 20,000 ships built for the evacuation. Prior to these 2 catastrophic events, the Federation was barely piecing itself back together after the Dominion War, with the Pact-led incursions placing a fleet on a backward foot. The Federation was also placing massive resources on the Romulan evacuation plan, to the annoyance of many worlds in the Federation. With such resources being diverted towards the enemy, when the evacuation fleet was wiped out, Starfleet was forced to refuse any more resources by threat of the 14 member worlds pulling out. With a lot of resources, the ban on androids, and a potential implosion of the Federation due to assisting a known enemy, even Picard's plan to use old ships modified for high-speed warp was rejected by Starfleet. Before the Dominion, Starfleet had designed several battleships, classified as dreadnoughts, most significantly the Defiant and Prometheus class ships, but in beta canon, several try-and-assault vessels during the original series and motion picture era, from the Federation class to the Proxima, and the infamous USS Star Empire, a Mark I prototype. If you remember those ships, hats off to you. However, a proper defense fleet was never mass-produced. While the Federation did create anti-Borg vessels, such as the Akira, Saber, Norway, and Steamrunner, we've done a full video on those, their ships were never truly built for combat, and this showed during the Dominion War when the Federation fleet was a little bit on the back foot. It was likely costly to rebuild, considering most Galaxy-class vessels were just skeleton shells with small crews due to the lack of material and time to build complete ships. And then when Mars was destroyed, Starfleet didn't just lose personnel and ships, it lost mass resources, including the shells of 20,000 ships and many other vessels under repair in orbit above Mars, also the ones still being built. Mars wasn't just building a relocation fleet. Utopia Planitia, the shipyard, was one of the key, if not the key facility, the Federation's starship building. So to better use the materials available to them, the answer was to build a fleet of the same class, with minor variations to create a more diverse fleet capable of many different tasks. These ships would be based on the best parts of each class of ship, creating a vessel capable of handling anything. This fleet wasn't built to explore, however. This was a fleet built by the scarred and scared Federation that had to protect its citizens at any cost. Variations of the class didn't make sense. Why have a fleet made up of outdated Excelsiors, pocket-sized Novas, and costly enormous Sovereigns when you could send in a fleet of a single class, which would be easily repairable and replaced as the components would all be duplicated and widely available. Each ship would likely be able to be controlled by a minimal crew, and would be a mid-size so it was able to compete with a variety of already established ships. When the fleet was sent to Gulion 4, it was the best ship Starfleet could muster at the time, likely suggested by Admiral Clancy and Captain Riker. Knowing the Romans would rebuild after their world is destroyed, Starfleet maintained the fleet the best it could. So when it arrived and challenged Commodore O, the Romulan spy, Captain Riker need only use his charming skill of stopping the enemy with words alone. Yet he knew he had the means to prove himself if need be. He likely mentioned his fleet being Starfleet's best to intimidate the Romulan soldiers, knowing that O was well aware of the fleet and its reputation. Commodore O was like most Romulans, and while she knew of the fleet, she was far too overconfident in her own mission to ever consider Starfleet actually sending ships to assist. She viewed the Federation as a timid beast, barely able to roar. Impressive seeing she actually worked for them for a while. Riker proved her wrong. When it came to the fight, Starfleet was willing to step up and take control. After Picard Season 1 ended, and Admiral Picard returned to Starfleet, the Federation would likely begin a new mission to start building new starships, to try and create a new era of exploration, which would be widely different to its past 10 years of a fearful stance. By working off of the classes that worked so well previously, they would build a new Galaxy variant in the Ross class, more Sovereign class ships, and a variety of other vessels for specific missions, leaving the now likely aged Inquiry class ships to take a step back and be modified to return to Starfleet's main mission, exploration. So that's suggestion 1. When you consider it, a war fleet does seem like the most likely suggestion for Starfleet to finally create. After all, consider the major enemies of Federation as 4. Look at all their classes of ships and variation. Here we go, this is going to take a moment, so bear with me. The Romulans, the Dedridex class, Mogia class, the 2 Science class variants, and the 2 from Picard. Cardassians, the Gala, the Hidiki, the Keldon, 3 classes of ship it seems, I'm pretty sure they had a scout at one point. The Dominion, the Bug, the Battleship, and the Battle Cruiser. The Klingons, the Negvar, Vorcha, Katinga, Brel, Kavort, and 2 of those are the same design, sort of. Starfleet on the other hand, 64 classes and sub-variants. No seriously, deep breath now, and here we go. Akira, Alita, Ambassador, Andromeda, Antares, Apollo, Bradbury, Centaur, Challenger, Chimera, Constellation, Constitution Refit, Constitution Free, Curiosity, Curry, Defiant, Durdestart, Echelon, Edison, Excelsior, Excelsior Refit, Excelsior 2, Freedom, Gagarin, Galaxy Class, Venture Variant, Inquiry, Intrepid, Jean, Korolev, Luna, Mercady, Miranda, Miranda with no robar, Miranda with lasers, Nebula, Bonshun variant, Phoenix variant, Nebula prototypes 1, 2, and 3, New Orleans, Niagara, Norway, Nova, Rhode Island variant, Orbeth, Odyssey, Olympic, Pathfinder, Prometheus, Reliant, Renaissance, Ross, Sabre, Sagan, Sovereign, Sawyers, Springfield, Steamfield, Sutherland, Wallenberg, and the Yeager. All of these names come from a TV series. 64 class of ship from mid-24th century to early 25th century, and that's not including the variety of other classes from the Frankenstein Deep Space Nine fleet. Ooh, can we just take a moment to fact I've read out all those ship classes there and probably still missed one from the Starfleet archives of many starships? Ooh. By limiting their forces to one class of ship, that did most of the heavy lifting. Starfleet managed to restrict resources and protect the Federation. It consolidated where it needed to and shielded itself as best as it could. However, that does leave one question. What's our other theory? The Inquiry-class fleet is old. These are a class of ships designed throughout the late 24th century, likely just before or after Voyager returned home. The Inquiry-class was built to be an explorer, but one that could last longer in combat and away from dock. Over 20 years, 200 vessels were built and sent out, all the while resources were being pulled to create the Romulan task force of Wallenberg-class ships, and to produce the newer Odyssey-class, which would be Starfleet's new flagship design, a new symbol of hope and wisdom. However, after Mars was attacked, the aging Inquiry fleet was unable to be refit due to no resources being left to facilitate this, so they became the face of Starfleet, as they were younger than most other ships in the fleet. While Starfleet would eventually begin experimenting with new designs and updates of the older ships, the Inquiry-class fleet remained out in space, a unique vessel and class which became more common as older ships, like Excelsiors, Mirandas, and Galaxy-class cruisers. These began to be taken out of service and scrapped for parts to build newer variants which could possibly withstand the universe better, such as the Ross-class, the Reliant-class, and the Excelsior II. To reduce cost, all new classes were variants of older ship designs, such as the Constellation and Constitution. This allowed for simpler designs and technological updates, all the while reminding the Federation of where they came from. As Starfleet shifted its focus to newer ships during the 2390s, the Inquiry ships kind of became forgotten about, becoming the new Miranda class of the fleet, a workhorse that just kept on working, never really breaking from their assigned duties, but also from a time period that needed sharp ships, ones that looked ugly but thought of tooth and claw. The grille that covered the deflector was new tech, designed to protect the ship better during combat at warp, but this did not function as was expected. It fluctuated the ship's warp field, which caused massive instabilities, which is why the fleet was finally pulled back and recalled near the end of 2398, most ships homing in or on Starbase 12 or close by. As the fleet began to return from their long missions away near the edge of space, the Goulion 4 crisis was beginning. So any ships that were not at Starbase 12 got redirected. Riker joined the fleet, an expert captain who had years of experience bluffing his way out of tough situations. Knowing that Commodore O was a part of a Romulan task force, Riker played a weak hand with a strong front. He spoke a good talk, creating a dialogue that was as best Starfleet had to offer. O was confused as she knew these were older ships. However, she did also know they'd been pulled back to Federation space for upgrades. Unsure of Riker and his bluff, she decided to fight. Riker knew these ships were outdated, but they knew they would stand a decent chance, as he'd already planned for this outcome. He knew Romulans, and he knew a no-win scenario. He also knew this was important to Picard, so he made his play. Eventually though, Commodore O stood down, and the fleet was able to return to Federation space, where they were ultimately mass decommissioned, save a few ships that got new upgrades, such as new deflectors, and a trial run to see if an upgrade to the fleet would be worthwhile. The Inquiry classes that did get scrapped, their material was used to build newer ships and promote a healthy new ability to recycle older ships, as seen with the USS Titan and the USS Titan A. This is why the Inquiry class was less frequent during the Borg crisis of the 2400s and the changing infiltration of 2401. All advances to the design were placed into the Sovereign, as Starfleet was adamant that designs similar to the past Enterprises was a better use of material, and to promote the future of the Federation more proudly. And while the ugly rough fleet was not Starfleet's best, it helped define a new generation, and eventually became part of a new legacy. So what do you think of the Inquiry class vessel? What explanation do you have in your own headcanon for the mass fleet of the same ships? Yes, I know it's easy to say they did just copy and paste the fleet, but let's be Star Trek fans. Let's try and think of a reason for why this might have happened. Personally, I'm still of the opinion that we should have seen more variety in the fleet that Riker commanded in Picard Season 1. It's just something I would love to see. Give me the Odyssey class. If you want to keep up to date on all the latest Star Trek news, lore, and more, then make sure to hit that subscribe button to never miss a video from the team here at Trek Central. You can also follow us on social media or join our community Discord server. For now, I've been Captain Jack. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Live long and prosper, my friends. Goodbye.